One shot. Let's begin. Milestone by Ari Keiichi. Translated and uploaded by Messi Ganga and Martin Gattaca 56. This is a doujinshi that was released in 2004. Okay. 20 years later, let's see if it holds up. I know who this is, but we'll find out. Let's begin. Milestone.
Eh? Well, yeah, it's something like this.
Milestone by Ari Keiichi.
But there's nothing to step on. I can't move forward.
That's just because you think there's nowhere to walk. Well, this is the only floating stone, right?
And what's in this pure white expanse below? I start thinking, what if it's a bottomless bog or a sea of sulfuric acid? And then, of course, I can't take a single step.
This is everything you stockpiled. Even though you sure went off the beaten path, this is proof it wasn't for nothing. The tree is already so large and flourishing.
Huh? Yeah, thanks. I guess I gained a little confidence.
So, don't be afraid.
Step. Bonk.
It appeared. It appeared something like a wooden plank.
It's all up to you. Once you decide, yeah, I could move forward, this scary looking path will just keep stretching out further and further for you.
Even though there was nothing there a second ago,
That's just how things are.
we're really making great progress, huh?
Once you get into first gear, you could just keep going from there.
Stand. Straight. Abidif, attentive, be now present. To you who can see so far beyond, yet just goes with the flow. To you who on reaching a fork of the road planted yourself. To you who's all talk and no action. To you who looks up and realizes another week has flown by. To you who decides their worth at new things in only 2 or 3 days. To you making excuses with illness you don't even have to. To you who are second guessing their next step.
Hey. Yeah. It's okay.
Rattle, clatter, rattle. Go ahead. You can keep moving forward. The flower blooms, the fruit ripens, and in time it bursts open. And that too is fine, for within the fruit there are seeds. Abidif, attentive, be now present.
Wow, the stars are so beautiful.
A shooting star.
Yo, you got a light? Yeah, sorry, didn't mean to scare ya. But hey, just gotta ask. You got a light? Come on.
Uh, no, come on. I don't have a lighter.
Hey, you got one, don't ya? Oh, hey, you got one, don't ya?
Uh, no, sorry.
Well, okay. You want one? A golden bat?
I don't smoke. What the heck? You had a light all along.
Well, okay. I do have fire. Probably more than you think. I'm just one of tens of hundreds of strangers to you. And you're a stranger too.
Indeed.
Or are you still comparing yourself to others? When there are other people who that's just what happens. So then yeah, you still you haven't realized yet. Everyone has just one coordinate they occupy. You can't live using a coordinate someone else assigned you. You can't be a fish in someone else's pond. You could connect to others so those coordinates form shapes. But any shape you form is just one cluster in a larger galaxy. Don't mistake your constellation for the entirety of reality. You and others can influence and empathize with each other, but you can never become another person. Everyone has their own coordinates. I can't land a big fish in your coordinates either. It's all about how you stay true to yourself in all of this. You know? Well, anyhow, It's about time to sleep. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, that's supposed to be the sound of night. Wow! Oh, I apologize. That was too loud. uh, when the dawn broke, the coordinates had vanished, but I was still there. I screamed out the fact of my existence and laughed ecstatically up towards the sky in my future panels. Let's meet another way. Publisher Arakuechi, published by Arakuechi, publication date 2004, 11/21, first edition, printing Ryo Koyosho, web www.himaryuruka.com, and mail cork at himaryuruka.com. Translator's note. What indeed? This is deeply autobiographical, and he mostly speaks in allegories. If you try to translate this literally, as I've seen for a couple of his dojins, you will just be flailing and wrong, because Japanese idioms don't translate directly to English, and it all becomes random gibberish. But every panel really does have some meaning. Arawi was not just being random, this is deeply personal. And I've tried to get you that, like with pages 8 and 19, and particularly 14, which, if taken literally, is just Delulu. But if you realize he's talking about people having coordinates and making geometric shapes with other people, makes sense. On page 19, he talks about laughing at the sky to the left, which makes zero sense unless you realize panels to the left are the future in a manga. It's like translating a Gene Wolfe novel. I apologize for anywhere. I left you going, huh? Stand is what they did in old-fashioned schools when the teacher or principal entered the room, followed by a bow. Stand. Abadif attendeth be now present is a classic Japanese phrase representing archaic forms of the verb to be, so I rendered it as archaic English. Golden Bat is the oldest cigarette brand in Japan, over a century old. It's cheap and crappy and stereotypically smoked by heavy chain smokers. Well, okay. Translated clean by Sarusa, typesetted by Martin Gattaca. Okay. It said pages. Do they have page numbers? Okay. Can't move forward when the pure white expanse. 4 and 14, and I think they said 19. Everyone has just one coordinate they occupy. You can't live using coordinates. Someone else's sign. You can't be fish someone else's pawn. They form shapes, but any shape you form is just one cluster. You and others can influence, emphasize with each other, can become the person. Okay. When the dawn broke, the coordinates had vanished, but I was still there. I screamed at the fact of my existence, laughed ecstatically up towards the sky of my panels. Okay, did I get them all? Oh, 8, 19, and 14. I was like, yeah, right. To you who are second guessing their next step, hey, yeah, it's okay. This is one thing where, well, I guess I don't know. I don't always. Occasionally, I'll make a comment in the translation, if it's good or bad. And, for this one, not knowing the original text or the Japanese idioms or anything like that, I gotta, give my tip or hats off or, to the, what do you call it, to the translator. I think they did such a good job here, and they kind of made it seamless, right? Because that's one of the things with translate. You got to understand the cultural knowledge, the cultural context, and as a result, you just kind of have to see what you could do to make it the best, right? And I think through this here, you could kind of see what they were going for, right? Like this first panel, it's like, okay, we got like all these art supplies. And then it's like, well, I can't move forward. I don't want to move forward. What's going to happen if I move forward? This is all like, the self doubt we feel about going forward to the next step and changing something and seeing what happens, pop, pop, pop. And then I'm not quite sure what the tree signifies, but I guess it's everything that they're doing well. This is support, this is what they built. And when he goes, boom, it's like, hey, I could go as far as I want to, and there's going to be some, it's up to you, right? For better or for worse, you get to decide how you move forward in that path. And then the stand thing, I didn't quite get that, but I understand that like he was reading a book to her. Um and that's the thing is that this is essentially sorry, I got a little something in my throat. This is essentially a manga about self-doubt, right? Like how do you push forward? How do you move forward? What's going to keep going and going and going? And you keep second guessing, you keep making excuses. You say, I can't do it, I have this, I have that, who knows? And then you find every reason to not do it. And I think this is rather common. This is a very, very particular fun fact, about me and like how I started doing this. I, of course, had similar self doubts when I first started reading chapter one of One Piece, and then trying to figure out what to do. And I was like, no, I didn't want to do it, da 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 da. But this little pop filter, this is kind of what gave me a little bit more of the like mental courage or mental fortitude to start starting it. And it's a silly little thing, you know, but like okay, that's the push I needed to go forward with that as well. I was definitely making excuses about everything until well, this happened. And now I try not to make excuses. And in fact, I don't make excuses about like being able to or not being able to do something like this. Um, yeah, and I am choosing who I want to be. And so yeah, I think choosing who you want to be is a huge theme, and even now, like work, I work at a school that is struggling. I'll say, um, closed down, well, school closures, so and so I'm definitely making the deliberate attempt to try and make the school better and try and make sure that we as a community recruit more students and go better on all metrics. I think that's important. So this is like a big thing. And so yeah, that choice for who you're choosing to be and all of that. And yeah, also like Cody, keep moving forward. The flower blooms, the fruit ripens, and in time it bursts open. It's such a nurture yourself until boom, it happens. And that's the thing. For within the fruits there are seeds, right? Every fruit starts as a seed that you plant and you harvest and you do. Abbott attendeth, be now present. Old stuff there. And then the light thing is a yo, I got a light, I got a light. And I didn't really think about the symbolism of this until they said it. He's like, no, no, you got a light. No, you got a light. Like, no, 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 you got. But like, no, I got a light. In essence, being like, yo, I am like, there is a light that we could be doing along here. I do have fire, probably more than you think. I'm just one of tens of hundreds of thousands of strangers to you, and you're a stranger too. You still compare to others when there are other people that's just what happened. So then yeah, you see I haven't realized yet. Essentially saying that you can't necessarily follow someone else's path or trajectory. It's only so many coordinates you could choose, and just because someone did it successfully one way doesn't mean that you're gonna do the same thing successfully as well. But we get rid of our joy when we compare them, right? Like I like get rid of my joy all the time through comparison. I've tried to stop doing that. And it's difficult, right? But a little bit of practice every day. Like I said, the seed that goes further and further here. And just the idea of him already having the light, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. You have the capabilities to do so. Now, will you do so? Right? I think that's another one. Will you do so? And then this guy turned into a tree. I guess it's the idea of the seed developing and her letting it all out. It's good. Um, right? And I that's why I gotta compliment the translator so much in this, is that the translator um took the time to translate the idioms. They took the time to make the metaphors work. And then they did it. The golden bat here. That's good. It's like, okay, well then. Something's always bogging us down. If you want to go to symbolism, it's like we'll always use some classical excuse, right? Interesting. Oh, he has quite a bit. Okay. He was born on December 29th, 1977 in the Gunma Prefecture. In 2006, he made his debut in Kazamashi published monthly comic. Later that year, he launched Nicho Joe in Nicho Joe. Is that like one with the girls? Oh, he's the guy who made this series. Interesting. I'm surprised I didn't pick. Oh, his mangas are from Minimalist Absurdist Humor, right? Our surplus anime shirts YouTube, which reports all the voice acting. I didn't pick that up at all, but I guess when you like look at this, Yeah, yeah. I just thought it was somebody copying the style. I didn't think anything of it. A little bit older, but that's okay. That's good. We saw one of the stuff that he did of Nichojo. That's cool. I haven't seen it myself, but I've heard of it and it's very good. One other thing I want to compliment is that his use of space, especially backwards, especially good. Like whenever there's a white space, typically speaking, it's just like okay, the author didn't want to draw it, this already there. But in here, it adds to the kind of empty void. Like what comes next? What comes next? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Right? And the void, but then boom, you get the little pathway here. And then the empty space is kind of complement, right? This door, okay, it's representing the school, the background, the art, still the blank background. But then when it's dark, then you have this in the mountain. It's like, okay, that's really interesting that how he uses backgrounds in order to like tell a story and give you that feeling, you know? Maybe this is a comedy too, and I don't know. Gosh, how much of his? I'll look at his YouTube, and then oh yes, two YouTube. Oh no, you. And then we'll call it there. Okay, Nichojo. Okay, 1.7 million views. Good, good. He gets good views for especially for doing things so well. And these are I don't know how much he does or there, but this is good, especially since he does all the voice act, he does the animating, and it looks like there is motion, so pop off, King, as they say. So awesome, awesome. With all that being said, like, comment, subscribe, and thank you for being born, y'all. Peace out.